Happy Thanksgiving, guys! Welcome back to Kessie's Cuisine, where we satisfy your food cravings with easy and amazing recipes. Today's Thanksgiving, I cannot wait to show you the amazing dish that I made for this family dinner. It was so spectacular. I cannot wait. I hope you guys are enjoying your Thanksgiving, and make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment, you share. Tell me what you guys made for your Thanksgiving, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Thank you.
For this year Thanksgiving, we got a message from a Canadian family asking if we could make turduckens for a family dinner. This turduckens, I was a little bit scared making it, but yes, we pulled through. We made some other side dishes, but turduckens was the star boy of the show. So today we are going to be making turduckens. We're going to be making stuffings. We're going to be making Brussels sprouts. It is just everything Thanksgiving. We are going to be making some mushrooms. We're going to be also making some green peas. So I'll show you what I was able to film. For the turduckens, this bed was large, like it was so big. Turduckens it's simply a deboned turkey, and then you have to stuff in a chicken. It is 3 beds in one: a turkey, a chicken, and a duck. Like, the chicken and the duck are supposed to go into the turkey, and it's supposed to be formed back into a turkey without breaking the skin. Don't worry, it's what I'm talking about. So firstly, you want to start off by deboning your small bed. By the time you debone your small bed, you will find it much easier when it comes to the turkey. So for this, I got a sharp knife. If you want me to make an exclusive video on how I debone and dissected this chicken and the turkey, you just let me know. Make a comment and I'll put it in a separate video. Now you want to debone your chicken. Like, you start from the back of the chicken, and then you try to work your way through to remove the rib cage without breaking the skin of the chicken. Do you get? Anyway, I was trying my best to just go through it. This was a very new knife, so yes, it made the work much more easier. I tried my best, and this was what came out. I was able to debone the chicken perfectly without ripping the skin. You want to take off the breast. You take off the thigh of, like, there should be absolutely no bone in your chicken. Do you understand? That is what it is. So that the thing is that when you cut through the turkey, you want to cut it like a cake. No single bone should be in between. That's what it means. Anyway, my rib cage was out already of my chicken, and then it was time for me. This was what we are trying to achieve. You shouldn't break the skin of the chicken or the turkey. Anyway, I proceeded to debone the thigh of the chicken, and then it's a little bit challenging, but if you work with a small bed, it is way easier. If you have a mistake with the chicken, it is way easier to correct yourself when it comes to the turkey. Do you understand? So I worked my way through the chicken, removed the tiles, and then I continued my chicken. As you can see, the skin is intact. I was so happy with the result, and it was time for me to spice it. And then I added in some black pepper. I'm going to spice with all-purpose chicken seasoning. I am going to make sure that the skins are well dissected. I found this bone and I was like, okay, it's time for you to go. You have to remove the wings because we don't want any bone in it. As I said before, I'm going to spice it up. Make sure I am dissecting to make sure that all the spice enter into the baby boy. So after some time, I added in some olive oil. I am going to wrap this up and allow it to marinate while I work on the rest part of the turkey of the bed. This was the duck that was given to me. Anyway, it was duck breast, so I am going to remove the skin out of the duck breast, and then I'm going to remove out the skin because the skin contains fat and I don't want fat in the turducken. I am going to spice up the duck also with some black pepper, some seasoning cube, and I'm going to keep that aside. These were all the bones that I cut out from my turkey and my bird because I am going to be using that to make my broth for my seasoning, for other parts of my seasoning. All those things that you found inside the turkey and inside chicken, they are very important for to make a good broth. So it was time for me to dissect my turkey. Like I said before, you work your way from the back of the turkey, and then you are going to dissect it to make sure that the skin is intact. This was it was very taxing, but if you have a sharp knife and if you have worked with your chicken, then you should know what you are about to get into. Anyway, this turkey was big, it was cold. I was afraid to poke the skin because of course it's for a family Thanksgiving and we had about 20 people coming for this dinner, so it's like we can't mess this up because 20 people that know about turducken. So if it's a mess, it's not going to be nice because this was the main dish. This was the star boy of Thanksgiving. It is always the star boy of Thanksgiving. So yeah, I had to be so extremely careful. But then I had to remove all the bones and everything. I will be leaving the bone in the wings and the thigh, in the wings and the leg, because I am not adding stuffings into my turducken. My stuffings are going to be separate, so I need my turkey to form as a whole bird. Do you get? Because if you remove the bone from the thigh and the wings, it is going to look kind of funny when you grill it. It's not going to stand firm as a turkey. So I will just make sure that the inside of my turkey is well deboned. But the feet, I'm going to debone the thigh, but should I call it the feet or of the turkey, the lower part of the thigh, I'm going to leave in the bone. Like I said, I am going to be I'm going to be putting all of the extras outside. This is exactly what we are looking at. Beautiful. I was so proud of myself, guy. Like I was super excited. I was like, now we do this thing. No way. It was super nice. I was so happy. Even the person who called me was so impressed about the outcome of the turkey and me managing not to bust the skin. So we are going to put all the chicken back and we are going to sew our chicken or look for a way to seal it back. Look for a way to seal back our turkey. So I am going to be dissecting the skin a little more just to make sure that the spices really enter into this thing. I am going to be forming my own marinade. I'm going to be adding some olive oil, some all-purpose chicken spice, and then I am going to add in some butter. I am going to melt my butter on fire, and that is exactly what I am going to use to rub in my turkey. Okay, here you can just see me crushing my seasoning cube, and I'm going to generously rub that in, and I'm going to add in, as you can see, I'm adding in some cube of butter into my turkey, and I'm going to let that sit. On this day we didn't have like much time to let our turkey marinate and all of that, so after I do this, I am going to be putting my turkey straight back into the oven. Okay, as you can see, I made a mistake towards the wings, and as you can see, there's a little bit of hole there, but it was just fine. Anyway, let's go. At this point, I am going to try my best to add in my chicken and my duck into my turkey, and I'm going to try my best to seal that all together. I forgot to get this sewing needle I'm supposed to get this sewing needle, but I had to use a thread, but the thread also worked fine. As you can see, I already put in my turkey. I already put in my chicken into my turkey, and I already put in my duck into my chicken. Now it's time to seal this baby up and then pop it in the oven. It was a little bit of a struggle getting it to form back, so I had to use this cooking rope. I'll tie it firmly to make sure that it forms, so that when it roasts, it becomes a whole duck. Okay, don't worry, you'll see what the end product will look like. So I was just trying to fit in the wings so that it looks like a turkey and it does not look like a deformed turkey at the end of the day. I wanted it to look like a pretty baby boy sitting in the oven. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So I finished and I popped my turkey back into the oven. It was time for me to clean and then to continue my cooking. Anyway, I wiped out my surface, made sure everything was clean and tidy. This was what my turkey was looking like in the pan. I was trying to adjust it so that when it forms out properly. And then I am also going to season my pan. I'm going to add in some thyme, some rosemary. I'm going to add in some butter and I'm going to grease my pan actually, just to make sure that your turkey does not stick to your pan at the end of the day. It was a new oven. I don't know if it is so hot, so for it to be safe, just grease your pan a little. These were the leftover, that is the neck of the turkey, the bones, everything. I am going to season it and I am going to cook it until it is like, because I don't really need the meat of whatever is coming out, I just need the juice. I seasoned with some garlic, some thyme. I'm going to add in some spring onions. I'm going to add in some sweet pepper. I'm also going to add in some carrots just to bring out all the flavor. I needed all the richness, and you're going to add in a lot of water because that is exactly what we need. We need the juice. So I am going to continue to marinate my turkey or to season my turkey. I added in some, I used that seasoning, that is the butter, the all-purpose seasoning cube and some oil, and I rubbed it on the skin. I'm going to add my turkey into the oven and allow it to bake now and allow it to cook. Now the problem is the turkey is so big that you need a pressure reader to know when it is cooked inside. So as my turkey was cooking, I was greasing it with more of that spice that I made. As you can see, I added in some more spring onions. The spice that I'm just using is butter or seasoning pop.
Hey guys, so we got some food that Cassie made us for Thanksgiving. We have Turducken, so it's 3 birds stuck in one. It was the best baked bird I've ever had in my life.
Thank you.
We've got mashed potatoes, we've got Brussels sprouts with bacon, and everything was just amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
While we are done with that wonderful review, my turkey was still in the oven. It was time for me to make my stuffings. Guys, to be very honest, this was the first time I made every single thing that I was eating here. Apart from what was I used to? I was just used to the mushrooms. Apart from the mushrooms, everything, stuffings, the turduckens, it was all new to me. But I was so glad that I took the job. Kessie Cuisine, we are all about, in fact, just I said, satisfying your cravings. Think of what you want and give it to us. We are going to bring that your cravings to your full satisfaction. Anyway, I was making my stuffings. They got me this bread, which was very good for the stuffings. We didn't have time to dry out the bread, so we are going to be using our air fryer to dry it out. Okay, I'm going to start off with my Brussels sprouts. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I am going to chop it into 2, and then I am going to walk my way through it. I'll show you at the end of the video. I don't know if I got a video of it. As you can see, our broth is coming out fine. This, I'm going to cut my celery. It was part of my stuffings. So stuffings are just celery, spring onion, dry bread, some egg, some broth, and then you're going to spice everything together, and then you're going to put it back in the oven. Anyway, this was what I had, and it was time for me to go back to my turkey and add in some more of that flavor. I was building my flavor. First of all, I used just the normal spice, and then I went in with some more butter and some spring onions, and then I'm going in with some onions and some sweet onions. I was trying to read it, but at this point it was not done. For you to know if your turkey is done, it's supposed to be 57 degrees. That you like, the thermometer is supposed to reach 57 degrees, okay? But it was not yet done. And then it was time for me to make my gravy. I made so many things on this day. It was time for me to make my gravy. As you can see, there was an already prepared gravy. There was an already prepared gravy that I just had to put into the water like this and stir. But I was like, no, I had to make mine from scratch because that one was not given at all. Anyway, this was my dry bread when I was done with it from the air fryer. This was me making my gravy from scratch because the one that was pre-made was not given. So my gravy from scratch, I just added in one whole butter. I added in some flour, and then I'm going to stir it until it gets brown. I'll be adding in some salt, and I'll be adding in some black pepper, and after that I am going to add in milk. This is going to make it taste so yummy. It's going to make it taste so yummy, so creamy. In fact, everybody complimented this gravy. Like, the person, like my host, had to tell me, please keep one jar of gravy for me because I don't want anybody to touch it. Anyway, I added in that already prepared gravy that was pre-made. I added into my gravy to make sure that it is much and to make sure that it has like an original taste. And then I'm going to add in some of that broth that I made from my excess bone and pre-made turkey. I'm going to add it just to add in some volume, and then when I was satisfied with how it looks, I am going to use a sieve to sieve it to make sure that it is seamless. I don't want to see any lump inside. This was what my gravy came out to be. 2 big jars. I'm going to put my Brussels sprouts into the oven. I stir fried some green beans. It was a whole lot of food, guys. Like, I spent so many hours. I was so tired. Anyway, I really loved it. Other people came. It was Thanksgiving, so people came with other items to make, and this was me still trying to do my thing. And it was time for me to make my stuffings. So for stuffings, you're going to be adding 1 whole butter into a pan. I'm going to be adding some onions. I added in some garlic, and then I added in some thyme and some rosemary. I added in my celery, and I'm going to just stir fry until it is translucent. When I was done, I added in my spring onions. I added in some of my herbs, my parsley, and by this time the whole house was like, the aroma was giving, like it was giving Thanksgiving. I was super excited that everything was just coming out as I planned in my head. I added in my gravy, and then I am going to be adding in my bread. I'm going to add my bread in bits because it was so much. It was a very large pan. This day I stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed. It was a very large pan. I was able to add in all my bread, and then I added in a little bit of that chicken stock. I was making sure that every single part of the bread is getting that juice. I'm going to add in my egg, and as you can see a little bit of meat in it. You know that my chicken broth that I cooked that contained the neck and other flesh, I actually scraped out all of the skin and I added it to my stuffing. By this time my stuffing was already cooked and it was out of the oven.
So can you tell me about the food or about the turkey
Uh-huh.
or about Thanksgiving? Anything you want to say?
Okay, what I have to say is, look, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
I think it was just some things that I have never, being an American, that I have even never seen as an American that was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
Like the thing now with the turkey
Yeah.
and this chicken and the duck that she pressed together. And nobody really knew that. If she didn't say anything, everybody would have thought that it was a turkey. And I have to say, the food was great. I mean, really, it was great. Some of the greatest food I've eaten in a long, long time. I really, really enjoyed it, and I mean that really from my heart.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, this was my stuffing, and at this point, my turkey was already looking so pretty. My gravy was ready. My Brussels sprouts was also ready. My mushrooms were ready, and I tasted my turkey or tried it, and it was ready. So good to go. Happy Thanksgiving, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.